All right, everybody, how's it going? Fishing California with EBA. We're out here today talking all about fishing. Specifically, of course, California, where we fish all the time. Today we're talking Lake Camanche, a few other areas, a few other lakes, rivers, creeks, bodies of water, fisheries. But mainly, we're going to do a fishing report today. We're going to focus on Camanche. We're going to throw a little bit of other, other reports out there, kind of in California, just to give you guys a sense of what is happening, what isn't happening. Each year is a little different. We had a late pack. We had a late kind of winter come through. Up here we had a lot colder conditions all the way through to May. We had a lot of snow come in April, and those packs kept the water temperature a lot cooler. So let's talk about Lake Camanche. Lake Camanche, generally that water does warm up a lot faster. It is coming from Lake Pardee and the McCallum, but it is further down, and it's shallower for the most part, a lot shallower. But that water warms up a lot faster. It's not directly coming out of the McCallum. And the trout bite. Let's talk about rainbow trout. Everybody goes out, everybody picks up a trout rod from time to time. Lake Camanche might be the best place right now in California. Maybe not the whole state, but it's one of the better places. If you're not too far from it, if you know of it, you know it. The trout fishing is really good. Now, specifically on the north end of the lake is where the northern section, that recreation side, is where you're going to do better. So that's the first thing I want to mention. The second thing I want to mention is right now 4-foot leaders, a lot of 4 or 5-foot leaders. Sometimes I like to start off early in the morning going with those 2 and 3-foot leaders, and the evening going with the 2 to 3, and then pulling out those 4s and 5s for midday. So what you have right now is your power baits, your mice tails, and your power eggs. I personally, I want some power bait. The cons to power bait would be that it doesn't always stay on the hook for some people. Sometimes you could have your rod sitting with the bobber or just waiting. There's no power bait on the hook anymore, and it's a waste of time. That's the con to power bait. But the positive, the pros, would be that it just gets bit more often. It does get bit more often, and it does seem to catch bigger fish more consistently. So it's a win-win, except when there's no power bait on the hook. Right now, as far as the bass, let's talk bass fishing, Lake Camanche. Whew, this is usually a lake where it gets really good around March, and then through March gets better and better. April better than March, and May's better than April. This year, I've just, obviously we've had a lot of issues with the boats, a lot of issues with muzzles, whether they're there, whether they're there's a whole lot of politics involved. The lake shut down the boats. You guys need to know that, but I think all of you pretty much already know that. So it does right now, there's a lot less pressure on that lake. The trout bite's good. The largemouth and the spotted bass bite should be phenomenal. However, I know a guy that's actually there for 2 weeks right now fishing it every day, and he's there off and on 2 weeks of every month. And, he's not doing very well. A lot of these guys at Lake Camanche, I'm not saying they're not catching the fish here and there, but they aren't going out there and putting the hammer down. The guys that are putting the hammer down, they aren't talking about it if they are doing it. And word of mouth isn't even, usually you hear tell, like, oh, a story of a guy who said something about something along those lines, but we ain't got nothing. There's not a lot of reports of big fish, numbers of fish. I was there one day this year, not too long ago, just a little bit recently. Like I said, I know multiple people that live in that area. I know one guy that I'm good friends with. This guy is there every other week, every other 2 weeks. So nothing going on really as far as bass fishing. I mean, there's a bass being caught here and there, and there's a couple guys that are getting the limit, but they're working hard for that limit. And I would say right now, where do you go to get the bass? I would say the south end can be good. I like to focus on a lot of that if it's got some grass or if it's got some transition, maybe it goes from rock to mud to clay to whatever, transition lines. I like that grass, and I like points, you know. I like islands as well, but I like islands early and late. I like the rest of what I'm talking about all day long. So don't be afraid to get to the south end and play a little bit around there. Get to the north end. It's going to be a little different. You know, you could still hit all those same type deals, but you're really going to want to, you're going to be able to really get away with a lot more. I mean, I'm going to probably be throwing a lot of reaction baits on the north end. I'm going to be throwing jigging a pig. I'm going to be throwing drop shot. I'm going to be throwing a lot of different things, but not quite fishing the same spots I would on the south end. So I might be looking for ledges and points and humps and transition lines as well. But focusing now with that deeper water, you've got deep water access to a lot of these fish. So you will have cruisers that kind of just come through certain areas. They cruise through them, and you can always pick up, you know, your topwater fish. I like in some of those conditions, you know, that 15-foot shoreline, kind of just going down it with a Pop Max or something, a big popper, walk the dog bait, have a lot of fun like that. I'll give you a little bit of a report here on panfish, which has been nearly non-existent. I would call it very little to none, much to speak about for panfish at Lake Camanche. As far as catfishing, I haven't seen a whole lot, but there's not a lot of people focusing on that right now. We're going to talk a little bit about some of the other places in the state of California. So Lake Pardee, you know, haven't obviously shut down to boats as well. Have not heard a whole lot. I do have a trip planned there, or a couple day trip, couple of them planned very soon here. But that lake, I haven't heard a whole lot about it. I haven't even seen, they haven't even been putting in plants for the trout fishermen. So that bite's been a little weak. Amador's bite's been actually fairly steady. Usually it declines this time in the year greatly. For trout, it's been doing phenomenal this time of year. In the last, 8 months, Amador's been doing good, kicking out good fish. Pricey, not always getting your limit, but you're getting studs. And as far as some of the other places we want to talk about, the American River has a few fish being caught here and there right now. It's always tricky, the American, whether you're fishing the South or whether you're fishing the North Fork or the Middle Fork. It's always a tricky river. We've been fishing Jenkinson Lake, and we will be going up to, which hasn't been much of a epic bite at all. So we're going to be up to Union Valley soon and do some day trips up there, and the creeks. Going to be hitting the creeks, so we're going to be letting you guys know about how that bite is. We hope you guys enjoyed this. We're just trying to give you guys some information about what's on, pointing you in the right direction. Hopefully you guys go out there and get your limits at Lake Camanche for rainbows, and maybe go out there and pick up a panfish or pick up a couple bass, on the side. Not a bad thing, not a bad deal. But, right now, one of the things we try not to do is have people running around, try to give you guys some info so you're not running around wasting gas, wasting time, and wasting your day off. We only get so many days off, or you only get so many days where it really work. So hope you guys appreciate this. Hit the sub, like button. We appreciate it. Thank you.